Japanorama.
Japanorama.
Super likey. Konnichiwa and welcome to Japanorama. Japan is a land of superlatives. Their trains are the fastest, their technology the newest, their streets the safest. In fact, you'll find more S here than in that Hungarian writer's quest to test the best travel west in West Budapest, which is showing on BBC4 later this evening. My point is, Japan is also considered to be the world's scariest nation. And it's no surprise that through film, manga, art and more, they now export fear better than anyone else. They call it... Kaidan. Which means...
Scary stories.
That's right. All my goosebumps are big enough to stuff and serve a Christmas dinner. Not an image you should linger on, by the way. With its 127 million citizens packed into an area roughly the size of Hampstead Heath, Japan can feel pretty crowded at times, and that's only counting the people who are actually living. You see, if the scary stories are to be believed, the whole place is chock-a-block with the souls of the departed, and these aren't ghosts of the hunky, benevolent Patrick Swayze variety. The Japanese believe they inhabit the world's most haunted nation. Scary stories are as much a part of everyday life here as sushi, reliable motorcars and sake-sodden salarymen. Its long history of scaring itself senseless has inevitably led Japan to world dominance in horror films and manga. The widespread belief in menacing, vengeful ghosts hails from the Edo period. The lower classes, unable to exact revenge on their feudal masters in this life, dreamt of dishing out their comeuppance in the next. So, in order to schmooze these familial phantoms, each summer the nation celebrates Obon, a Glastonbury for the dead, in which the living kick it with the spirits of their dearly departed. To help us mortals overcome our fear of angry ghosts, there's an entire industry here geared to toughening us up. Japan boasts the biggest and best haunted houses in the world. They compete for scary supremacy, like our British theme parks might vie for the title of least decrepit. The practice of confronting spirits is called kimodamashi. This usually involves a nighttime walk through a scary place like a wood or an abandoned house. Children as young as 5 are introduced to demons, then led on these walks to ensure that when they grow up, they'll fear only their business competitors. Every country has its traditional rite of passage for children. In England, it might be your first game of conkers or your first unplanned pregnancy. For children in Japan, it's kimodameshe, which means test of guts. And I've come here to one of Japan's scariest attractions, the horror hospital, to test mine. Although I thought it might be prudent to go along with some people who are a little less scared than I am. Ganbarimasu! Ganbarimasu! Ikimashou.
Let's go!
Yeah. After you, girls. This haunted hospital, the world's largest, is in the Fuji-ku theme park near Mount Fuji. Unlike lesser versions with mechanized fright, this one has live, or rather undead, actors bringing the pain. right, guys, high five, come on. Yeah, we did it, yeah. Kimo damashe. Okay. Take that, zombies. Oh, that was exhausting. I need a pickled plum now. Such is the Japanese love of all things scary, they really do embrace their demons.
Well, come in. I said come in.
Perhaps one of my favourite things about Japanese ghosts and demons is that, while tricky to see with the naked eye, they lend themselves quite smartly to anime. Many of us were introduced to the supernatural side of Japan through Hayao Miyazaki's Oscar-winning anime, Spirited Away. For anyone looking to learn about obaki, that is, ghosts or demons, Miyazaki and his Studio Ghibli films are a great place to start. In fact, certain scenes in Ghibli's 1994 film, Pompoko, serve as a who's who of top Japanese obake. This is Kaminari, the god of thunder. He straddles clouds wearing a loincloth. Japanese parents warn their children that Kaminari will steal their belly buttons if they stick them out too far. Next up is Baki Chochin, a demon that grows out of a swinging lantern. It's an exceptionally grouchy and pissed off obake, so give it a wide berth, people. This is Karakasa obake, which means one-legged umbrella demon. It is by far the most popular obake, being a star of manga and video games. Yes, Japan treats its demons like pop stars, but sometimes it's the other way around. This is Demon Kogure, founder of the not too widely practiced Akumakai religion and former vice king of hell. A revered sumo wrestling commentator, his main demonic achievement came as the leader of Saiki Matsu, a religious heavy metal group whose aim was to conquer the world with loud rock music, a goal reportedly achieved in 1999. And I have the honour of entertaining Japan's most venerated demon in my Tokyo home. Excellency, I am delighted that you have joined me in my Tokyo apartment. I'm honoured, thank you.
It's good for you.
Let me ask you about your band. You formed your band Saikomatsu?
Seikimatsu.
Seikimatsu.
Yes.
And this was part of your plan to conquer the Earth.
Concord, yes, Earth.
And you broke up the band in 1999?
1999, yes, right.
So did you conquer the Earth?
Pardon?
Do you rule the Earth now?
Ruled the Earth now, and the world is now ours.
Well,
Still.
And how is that working out for you?
Now I'm searching everywhere of the world and look and watch how the world is going.
Mm-hmm. And is it going the right way?
Worldwide?
The right way?
White way?
The right way. Is it...
yes, right.
Yes,
right. Going. Very good for me.
OK. With your powers, you couldn't do something about the way I speak, could you?
It's very difficult because my English is American English.
And my English isn't even understood by English people, so we're in trouble. What is the best feeling? Is it when you know you've conquered a planet, or when you lay down some hardcore heavy metal riffs. Mm-hmm. What is best? Close, huh?
It's same.
Yeah, I thought so.
Same, because we conquered the world by heavy metal music. Why?
Give me a demonic 5. Good work.
Good work, yes.
Okay. I wish you continued success, Excellency.
Thank you.
It is an honor to have met you. Mm-hmm. And keep up the good demonic work. Mm-hmm. Arigatou gozaimashita.
Ah, you're welcome to our demonic world. See you.
Whatever he says.
Japanorama.
All countries everywhere accord a certain respect to the silver of tongue. In the West, we shower love upon our rappers and newsreaders. Here in Japan, it's all about who can tell the scariest ghost stories. So we've compiled our own top of the shocks. The snow woman, Uki Onna, is so beautiful, her skin so clear, she blends into the snow, only revealing herself to travellers who are trapped in snowstorms. She uses her icy breath to freeze them to death. Another great scary tale is the earless musician. He's a blind minstrel who scribbles spells all over his body to make himself invisible to spirits. Unfortunately, he forgets to write on his ears, so these spirits tear them off. Perhaps the most acclaimed apparition, however, is the woman in the well. Wearing the traditional white shroud of the dead and sporting glossy black hair, she's one hazardous hellcat. You'll find her in dozens of horror films. And wherever you go in Japan, you're bound to meet someone who wants to tell you a scary story.
In Japan, if you go somewhere that's haunted, where there are a lot of ghost sightings, you must make sure to bring salt with you. If you have salt, then the ghosts will not be able to possess you. So you must keep some salt in a small bag. In your pocket is okay. So why should you take this precaution? It's because in graveyards, or places where there are a lot of ghosts, the ghosts have the power to seize the soul of people with negative feelings. So you carry salt to keep them away. Also, if you act disrespectfully in such places, like speaking loudly, if you do that, the ghosts will fly at you and possess you. So these things are taboo in Japan. That's why we took salt with us today.
Though they've been producing top-drawer horror for decades, the Japanese international dominance in horror can probably be traced back to one series of films in particular, Hideo Nakata's Ring trilogy. The films, which tell what appears to be a very modern story about a lethal videotape, actually derive from traditional Japanese ghost stories.
The main ghost in Ring is a girl called Sadako. She got murdered and thrown into a well. This is very similar to the ghost story called Bancho Hanayashiki from the Edo period. The story is about this female housemaid called Okiku. After breaking a precious plate, she's killed by the owner and thrown into a well. Then she comes back from the well as a ghost. You can see the similarity in the story.
During the filming of Ring 2, the crew supposedly had its own ghostly frightmare.
We shot Ring 2 inside a cave by the sea that was supposed to be Sadako's birthplace. We had a strange incident there. The microphones picked up a male voice calling a female's name. The voice was whispering the name Rikako. We managed to use this episode to promote the film, but when I think of it now, it really scares me.
The huge success of the Ring trilogy inspired other Japanese directors to spin old-timey yarns into celluloid gold. Ju-on, a smash hit, tells a story of a well-presented 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom detached house, good location, but is haunted.
Elements of scary stories, kaidans in Japanese, clearly have an effect on my films too. Japanese fear is so different. It's like a watery dump feeling. It's a fear that stays with you for ages and ages psychologically. When I work with foreign producers, they always tell me it's about sudden frights. So I tell them scary and surprising are different things. What we want is scary, not just ah. The things you see in my films, Ju-on, are the things I was scared of as a child. Now I'm scaring other people.
The real estate-based horror concept proved so popular that Takashi Grudge Shimizu himself was asked to direct Sarah Michelle Buffy Geller in 2 Hollywood remakes. But the real stars of these films are these. The wide eyes. And these. The screams. And worst of all, these. The eerie sounds.
That's my voice.
It's not just film in which the Japanese horror masters reign supreme. Horror manga is truly exquisitely terrifying and often serves as a storyboard for top horror features. For me, the greatest exponent of horror manga currently working in Japan has to be Junji Ito. His manga masterpieces include Uzumaki, The Spiral, Tomie, and Gyo. It's perhaps little wonder that this former dental technician seems obsessed with decay in revolting settings. I'm tremendously excited to be able to say that I have here in my Tokyo apartment probably the greatest writer and artist of Japanese manga alive today, Junji Ito. Ito-san, hajimemashite, dozo yoroshiku. Thank you for coming here. I'm a big fan of your work. I especially love Uzumaki and I especially love Gyo. Tell me, where do your ideas come from initially? Where do you start with a new project?
With Uzumaki, I wanted to create a story about strange changes happening to the people living in a really long building. While I was thinking about how to draw such a long building, I decided that I could make it really long if it were in a spiral. So that's how the spiral came to be.
Uzumaki, or The Spiral, is in my opinion a masterpiece of weird horror. In rural Japan, a girl finds her boyfriend's father totally engrossed in filming a snail. His obsession with all things spiral leads to his turning into a spiral through his suicide in a washing machine. The obsession with spirals starts taking over the town. From human snails to the twisted spirals of coiled coiffures, soon the entire place is possessed. When I first read Uzumaki, I thought these scenes in the hospital were really unpleasant. Do you ever come up with ideas and stop and think, maybe this is too horrifying?
No, I always intended to write scary manga, so I've never stopped doing anything because I thought it might be too frightening. It's difficult to make manga as scary as a film. There are no noises, amongst many other things. So compared to films, the scary parts don't have as much impact. There's no comparison, so you really can't afford to pull any punches.
I think that Japan seems to be a country where people are either they just believe more in ghosts, or perhaps they are more aware of ghosts that exist that I don't know of. Does it make it easier for you or harder trying to write terrifying stories for people who are already believing in the supernatural?
To tell you the truth, I don't really think much about the reader. If I enjoy doing it, then that's good enough for me.
Gyo pushes the boundaries of even Ito's incredible imagination. This manga, which has not yet been adapted for cinema, features part metal, part fish machines with legs that emit a deadly death scent. Will they make a film of Gyo? Because I imagine to do it properly, it would be very, very expensive.
Yes, I guess it will cost a lot of money to make with all the fish and the special effects. But if it could be done, it would be really interesting. I don't know.
This is a scary idea for you. How about a shark in a sports car with a gun?
That would be really scary.
Arigatou gozaimashita. Thank you. Japanorama.
Super likey.
There have been many photographers over the years who have movingly explored the macabre. I'm thinking of the great Ouija, Joel Peter Witkin and Diane Arbus in America. But over here in Japan, they have Kaoru Ijima, the photographer of the damned. Tokyo-based photographer and TV commercials director Kaoru Ijima has earned international recognition for his controversial and innovative take on fashion photography, in which he quite simply kills off his models.
I imagine that the dead person's soul has left their body, and as they are rising up, they look back at their corpse. For example, this woman here is dead. She has been hit by a car and has died. Her soul will think, why did I have to die there? I had so many things I wanted to do. She would be disappointed and frustrated, but when she leaves her body and rises up and looks back, she can think she looks beautiful. If you think you look beautiful, then to me, the person can be satisfied with their life. I want them to look at the pictures and think how it would be if that was them. I was afraid of death, and I wanted to ease this feeling. I think if people get closer to death, they can start to prepare for it better. For this series, I first of all interviewed the models who will be posing as the corpses to find out in what way they would like to die. Then I create each story using the model's wishes for each picture. This is Ai Tominaga, a fashion model. When I asked her how she wanted to die, she said she didn't want to die by getting old and sick. She wanted to die in her prime of a heart attack whilst she was walking. That's what she wanted as her story. So we killed her off in an airport while she was traveling for a walk. This is the last thing her spirit saw as it was rising up. This one is Mari Natsuki, a famous top-class actress in Japan. She told me she is really obsessed with food, so she wanted to die surrounded by food. We chose tomatoes. Also, she really likes traveling, so she decided she would be traveling alone. I would meet a truck driver who gave her a ride. While they were traveling, she would sleep with the truck driver, but in the end, he would kill her and dump her with the tomatoes. That was the story she came up with.
So how does Ijima-san picture his own demise?
I haven't taken it yet, but I want my own death to be the last in the series of photos.
For those of a more exotic cultural bent, there's a peculiar sub-genre of Japanese cinema that might be worth a peek, if only from between your fingers. This is Japanorama Extreme, and yes, that is spelled with 3 X's. They're called Iroguro, or erotic grotesque, and if you found Ring or Ju-on too scary and weird for you, well... Several Iroguro films are based on the horror novels of Edgar Allan Poe. The prolific Rampo was heavily influenced by the master from whom he took his name, Edgar Allan Poe. Edgar Allan Poe. Many filmmakers have adapted Rampo's novels to the screen, but there's one director known as the Emperor of Iroguro, Teruo Ishii. In his final feature, Blind Beast and Killer Dwarf, Ishii combines 2 of Rampo's novels. It's a freaky splat fest about a blind man who takes women back to his lair and tortures them. And when a stray homicidal dwarf gets caught up in the action, well, hoo boy, another Iro Guro classic takes wing. Tero Ishii knew no bounds, and even hardened horror makers couldn't take his 1999 offering, Japanese Hell.
Ishii made a film called Japanese Hell, which I couldn't watch. It was so scary, I turned it off.
Though the master, Tero Ishii, sadly died in 2005, with recent releases such as this, Takao Nakano's Killer Pussy, Ishii's legacy and the whole erotic grotesque genre seems certain to live on. Killer Pussy is your everyday Freudian tale of an angry alien vaginal parasite that feasts on male genitalia. So remember, kids, always proceed with caution as you make your way down or up that tunnel of love.
Japanorama.
We've seen how the world's most hard-working and evolved country can get so worked up over silly ancient myths about ghosts and spirits that next thing you know, they're making a bloody fortune out of it. But what have we learned? Ancient Japanese joke for you. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Kaidan.
Kaidan who?
Can you open the door and find out for yourselves? Oh, yes, someone to say. Good night.
On the way next, we have more from our pillars of the comedy community as 2 Pints returns.